Hello indie game fans, we are back into the thick of things with a number of great indie games this week, so the top 10 best indie games of the week starts with Journey to the Savage Planet. This is a bright and colourful exploration title where you are sent to a faraway alien planet and have to determine if it is fit for human habitation.
Thank you for joining the Pioneer program. Our scientists have identified several planets that may be fit for human habitation. Yours is
ERY26.
I absolutely love the bright and colourful look, even supporting up to 2-player co-op as you run around trying to explore and catalogue the flora and fauna on the planet.
Highlight objectives for you and your partner, if you have one. Recent budget challenges plus the unknown natures of the obstacles you will face mean that we were unable to send you anything in the way of equipment.
There are crafting elements in this, where you need to upgrade your equipment, so some survival game elements, but I don't think that it is that punishing. The Coma 2 Vicious Sisters released in early access in November 2019, and this had a quick turnaround since it is releasing in 1.0. The follow-up to a cult classic Korean horror game set in a high school, you awaken in the school with no memory of what happened, but things are just a little bit creepier and more unsettling than usual. You soon realize that a demoness is after you and must find ways to survive. You may be able to tell that this is from the developer of Vembrace Cold Soul due to the art style, but this art applied to a modern day setting is pretty nice as well. Very creepy indeed, with some disturbing imagery, but one for fans of the genre. Basically Valhalla but with coffee and elves instead of alcohol and androids, Coffee Talk is a cozy visual novel style game where you play as a barista and have to get to know your customers. Set in one interpretation of Seattle, the combination of having to remember your customers' favorite drinks, having to actually make that drink, and just to chat with your customers should appeal to that visual novel crowd. I quite like the pixel art style in this, which developer Togi Productions does very well, combined with the lo-fi, jazzy soundtrack just makes this seem so pleasant. The Cook Serve Delicious franchise is an interesting one since it is a time management title about preparing food for your customers. But rather than Cooking Mama, Diner Dash or Overcooked style, this instead has you tapping on keys or buttons in a rapid fashion in order to meet the orders.
Blocking our exit! We need to change the box. New food orders are coming in.
Surprisingly, the third entry actually continues the narrative, set in 2042 in a war-torn America. I enjoy this title primarily due to the absolutely delicious looking food, which inspires me to try new recipes, but once you memorize and get proficient at the shortcuts, it just feels so great to play. The Pedestrian, much like Cuphead, certainly caught the attention of many when it was revealed due to the art style, where you play as the stickman that you commonly see in street signs, puzzling and platforming your way through the environment. While the 2D levels look clean and simple, the presentation of the title, which includes common, everyday environments rendered in 3D, gives it quite the distinct look. While a puzzle platformer at its core, I'm curious about the overall structure, whether it would simply be level by level, or if there's more to it. Ministry of Broadcast self-describes as a cinematic platformer mixing 1984 with modern reality TV, so it certainly has an interesting contrast of ideas. While I think that the cinematic platformer is emblematic of a different time in gaming, to see it make a comeback is interesting, since I'm curious how developers will bring the genre forward. You play as a man separated from his family by the wall and decide to take part in the reality TV show run by the regime in hopes of escaping to freedom on the other side. However, as with most totalitarian regimes, all is not as it seems.
I remember when Adolf Hitler was appointed Chancellor in 1933, the masses cheered. But we were not among them. We knew that the times would be bad now. We knew that the Nazi threats were not empty, that those people meant what they said. We had to do something. We couldn't just stay silent. But we also knew that it can cost us our heads. And so I was not surprised when they came for me. Don't worry about me. I'm fine. I would do it again.
Another grim title this week is Through the Darkest of Times. Set in 1933 Berlin, lead the resistance against the Nazi forces by spreading leaflets, sabotaging operations, gathering information and recruiting followers, all while trying not to get caught. Since you are not exactly a military resistance, your options are limited, but it is interesting to see parallels to other similar resistance forces in other countries throughout history. Interesting art style again, which is not exactly gorgeous, but does make it stand out. Kentucky Route Zero finally launches in 1.0 after about 7 years in early access, and is a story spanning 5 acts about a mysterious secret highway named Route Zero in the caves beneath Kentucky. This is an adventure game of sorts where you choose options and immerse yourself in the world created, and I guess could roughly translate into a 2D walking sim. which, of course, may not be for everyone. However, I've heard nothing but praise for this title due to the writing, world building, and overall vibe of the title, so for it to be in early access for that long a period, it certainly has me curious to find out what the fuss is all about. The delayed Scale Boy finally makes it to launch after first being announced for December last year, and is an action-adventure RPG where you play as the eponymous hero needing to save the world from destruction from a heartbroken court magician. The highlight to me has to be the art style, which uses 2D sprites in a 3D game, making for quite the interesting look, but hopefully the developers have accounted for not having to perfectly line up your character with enemies in order to attack them. You can change the various parts on the skeleton, conferring new effects, with, I presume, some pretty good music based on the trailers.
Welcome to the literary world. The tome you see before you is the Book of Books. The epicenter of our scholarly macrocosm of bookish delights. Good old Bob. It beats like a heart, pulsating with all recorded words, making them manifest in the ever-expanding literary world. And nothing can ever change that. Hey! Hey, now something has changed that. Some little toe rack has only gone and nicked the blading Book of Books. Now that it's no longer under the strict magical protection of the Librarium Infinitus, its bookbinding is becoming untangled and unbound. Pages containing entries and facts are getting lost. If Bob is destroyed, the literary world will blink out of existence. Now, we need your help.
Bookbound Brigade is a Metroidvania title with quite the interesting premise, since you get to control a party of up to 8 characters at once and have to traverse through the world of literary fiction, from Rapunzel and Moby Dick to Around the World in 80 Days and the Story of Troy. Your party of 8 characters have 4 formations and 16 abilities to be used to explore 5 non-linear worlds with your Metroidvania style backtracking and action platforming. I love the idea of controlling a party of characters instead of just one protagonist, with quite a cute art style and a world that I'm interested to explore. Whoever said that books were no fun? If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, share and subscribe. Check out the recommended playlist or the best pick for you, and I will see you after the jump.